Hey folks, it's Lauren from Snowy's here with the Darche Safari 350. I'm going to show you how to set it up and pack it away.
Hit it.
A classic heavy-duty touring tent with the bonus of an extendable bedroom section, loads of features including ventilation panels and an optional awning extension. Hold up, to make sure you don't miss any of our awesome content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get back to it. So the 350 is relatively heavy, although not a huge amount considering the size of the tent it is. So it weighs just under 30 kilos. So as you can see, I can lift it up. It's more the size itself that's a bit cumbersome. So the carry handles that you've got on the bag make it quite easy to pop it under your shoulder and carry it or move it around like this. Now it is pretty heavy. I probably wouldn't want to be carrying it a huge distance, but it's definitely really easy to move around by yourself throughout a campsite while you're setting up your spot. So its pack size is about 90 centimeters square by about 18, sort of 20 centimeters thick. So you can't actually pack it smaller than this because it's got a square roof frame on the inside that is limiting how small it packs down. So I'll show you what's in the bag. So inside the bag, we've got our main tent here. We've got our additional annex or awning extension. We've got 18 pegs that come with the tent, which are pretty reasonable quality ones that you get with the tent there. There's a couple of guy ropes here, and we've got a range of different poles. So we've got a couple of awning poles here for that awning extension, which I'll show you in a little bit. We've got the main supporting pole for our tent, and we've got a couple of, this is the little suction cap that keeps it in place inside your tent. And we've got a couple of extra poles here for the rear extension part of the tent itself. Right, first things first is we're gonna unfold our tent. And it's good to just be mindful of how it's unfolding when you're first opening it up to give you a bit of an idea of the best and easiest way to pack up. So we've got this internal square, which is the roof frame here that's flipped over. So I'm just going to rotate that out. As you can see over here, just immediately identifiable by the Darche logo, we've got our door. So I'm just going to rotate the tent around. So we've got the orientation that we want. Right, so once we've got the tent pretty much laid out where we want it to, we're gonna grab a couple of our tent pegs and peg out these four corners. So the next step that we're gonna do is pop the horseshoe shape or U-shaped pole section up across the back half of the tent. So we've got our two pieces here that have got the kinks in them, and we've got our straight piece. So firstly, we will open up and connect our straight piece like so. And then we're gonna slide that through these tabs along the back end of your tent. Now we're gonna grab our side ones and connect them together like so. And then we've also got this little sort of spike on the base of the pole that's going to help keep it in position when we do lift up that back end. So then from here we're going to put this bendy bit through our webbing strap and connect it to the straight pole like so, but then we're going to make sure that this webbing strap is sitting on above that little pin, and we'll do the same on the other side. So now we're going to sort of centralize that pole roughly. So from here we're going to put up our main central frame pole. Now you've got a couple of options. One is to put it up as it is at this existing height, and then once you're in there, open up your flick lock and adjust the height of the pole to the right tension of the tent essentially. But if you are not super strong or you're not super tall, you might find when all the weight of the tent is sitting on top of this pole, trying to unlock the flick and sort of push it up and get that tension right, you might find that a bit challenging. So I personally prefer to set the tent pole up at roughly its maximum height already, which is about 210 centimeters tall. And then from there, we're going to move our door and mesh panels sort of out of the way. and lift up our square roof panel. Now we're going to pop our pole roughly on this canvas pad here because it probably will shift as we're lifting up the tent. Lift and swing at the same time, hopefully as gracefully as I've managed to do that here, and just give our tent a little bit of a jiggle to get that one into place. So once we've got our central pole up, the next step is to pop around to the back of the tent and just simply position our side poles to give the back of our tent the shape that we need. Now that we've got our tent up, we're going to move those webbing straps around to the side, and that's going to keep the tension on the walls to keep those corners out and give us a nice boxy, roomy shape on the back end of our tent. So the next step that we've got is we're going to grab a couple of pegs and set up our guy ropes. So when you're setting up your guy ropes, you're going to obviously have 2 on each corner. So they're going to hook into the same peg point that you've got down the base here. Now from here, we're going to pop to the back of the tent. Now on these corners, because we've only got a half height wall, we've just got the 1 guy rope. So whilst we're at the back here, we're going to do our first ventilation panel. So there are 3 ventilation panels on the tent. There's a shorter one at the back here. Now our back rear window that we have here is Velcroed down. There's a bit of a storm guard for wet weather to protect that zip, but that opens up directly like a window. Now you do have the option to peg this one out with guy ropes as well, or you can get a couple of additional awning poles and you can have this one pegged out as an extra little awning space to put some shade over that window. But on the sides here, it's a little bit different. So we do have our ventilation panel just like we have at the back. Being on the side, which is a much longer wall, it means our ventilation panel is also longer. So we'll peg that one out. Now we've also got the window panel. Unlike the rear window, our side windows have a bit of an additional feature in that they have this small gusset section. Now this is really handy if you are needing more ventilation than potentially what your bottom panels are giving. You can open up your windows and loop them over the same peg point, which will create a weatherproof or dry extra avenue for airflow throughout your tent. Now you have probably noticed there that there is that second zip, which does allow you to fully open up that window. And again, like the one at the rear, it does have the eyelet. So if you want to grab additional awning poles, you can set up these window panels as that additional sort of awning space. So moving around to the front of the tent, we're going to flip our mesh and door panels over, and you'll be able to see along the top here, under this sort of little storm flap, we have a short zip extension. So this is where we're going to attach our optional awning. When I say optional awning, I mean that it's up to you whether or not you want to set it up, but it does come with the tent. So we're going to open up the awning like so, and we'll find a couple of eyelets, and that sort of indicates the front corners of our awning. And then we're going to find this side here with our 2 guy ropes, and then across that sort of center third is our zip attachment. So going by the little tab here, we're going to slide that up into the zip that's on the right hand side of our safari tent. Once that's in, we're just going to slide the zip all the way across. And when that's done, we've just got a little Velcro tab on the end here. And that's just going to keep that storm flap in place and stop that zip from working its way open if you have sort of windy conditions or anything like that. So from here, we're going to grab our awning poles, and we're going to, again, these are cabled together like telescopic there. We're going to connect those together, and they're also adjustable as well. So we're going to grab the eyelet on the end of the awning space and loop through our guy rope Right, so once your awning's up, it's probably something worth considering if you are going to expect a bit of rain. We've got quite a large catchment area here. So adjusting the twist lock on your poles and dropping one side down a little bit is going to be really helpful to support any sort of rain runoff in wet weather. But otherwise, you can set both of your poles up nice and tall like so and have a reasonable amount of shade. So lastly, you'll see on the tent end of our awning here, we've got a couple of guy ropes and this little extra flap of canvas. Now I'll show you on this side where I've fully pegged out the guy ropes and our windows and ventilation gusset. So we're going to loosen off this guy rope here and then we're just going to bring it back and loop it around this rear peg point we've got. Now the reason why we're doing that is because this extra little panel of the awning here is going to give us that rain protection or weather protection or of any sort of water coming in through the back end here of the awning if we're experiencing poor weather. So you might have noticed these additional zips along the edge of the awning. These are to attach optional awning walls. Check out our additional video on running through those if you need a bit more information on that feature. So that's about it for how quick and easy it is to set up your Darche Safari 350. So packing it up is also just as equally simple, and we're just going to do it in reverse. We're going to drop down our awning poles and release those guy ropes. Next, we're going to remove our optional awning panel, which is unzipping it across. We're going to fold it up and set it aside for now. The next thing that we're going to do, we'll undo our door panel, so we're leaving that hanging, and we'll unzip our fly wire. Then we're going to move around the outside of the tent and pull out all of our pegs and release all of our guy ropes. We're going to roughly bundle up our guy ropes, and then once all your guy ropes and your pegs are out, we're going to gently and carefully lower down and remove the rear end poles. Last but not least, we're going to step into the tent and we're going to pull the pole out, starting with the base, and drop the tent flat. So once your tent's laid flat, you're going to want to position your square sort of roof frame, I guess, roughly into the center of the front section of your tent. So essentially, this is going to be, or this roof square, I guess, is going to be what your tent is folded around. Primarily, you're going to want it to be pretty much right bang in the center and roughly around sort of like, I guess, in the second quarter potentially of the length of the tent. So once we've sort of positioned where that roof frame is going to be, we're going to remove the pegs from the corners and tuck all of our guy ropes in. Right, so we're going to grab the back end and we're going to fold that through roughly to where our roof frame is. So from here, we're going to then fold that across, squeezing out as much air as we can, making sure we're right up tight against where that roof frame is. We're going to bring the front across. We will end up with something that closely resembles thirds. So we'll pull this one across now. Nice and tight frame, that's sort of creating the pack up size boundary, I guess. And again, squashing it down as flat as we can and getting any air out. And again on this side. Now what we're going to do actually is grab our awning extension and just tuck that under that final fold of your tent. So sometimes I do find that these can be a bit tricky to get back in the bag, mostly because of the floor material being that sort of PVC and then this material having that coating on the inside. They sort of grip a little bit onto each other. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you're not really twisting the bag at all, and it's easier to go with the folded edge first, not the open edge. And then I'm going to pop my storage bag on, which is a lot easier to start that on the folded edge instead of the open edge. So once you've got the tent back in the bag, you just need to pop in our guy ropes and our poles. Just going to finish off getting these straps these tensioning straps done up. So that's about it for how you set up and pack away your Safari 350 tent. If you've got any questions or comments, chuck them below. Otherwise, you can grab this at snowies.com.au at our low prices every day.